let's talk about a story. And your former nephew, however that happens, but former nephew, Vinny
My
Goodwill, wrote a good
ex-nephew,
story.
that's right. Like my
Ex-nephew.
ex-wife. He's related to my ex-wife. He's my ex-nephew, Vinny Goodwill. That's okay.
Yes.
I still love him anyway, but he's still my ex-nephew, okay?
Friend of the show. Yes, he's on all the time. But he wrote a good column on Yahoo, Rob, about kind of how these playoffs are really could showcase a changing of the guard. And look at this, Rob. Steph and the Golden State crew, Draymond, Clay, Chris Paul, they're already out.
Good. Okay.
LeBron and AD. Now, AD isn't in that older guard, but he's kind of, I guess, more in the middle. But LeBron could be out at the end of the first round.
Good. Oh, I'm sorry.
Kevin Durant could be out
Good.
at the end of the first round.
I'm sorry.
And this is a possibility, even though we both have picked against it. Kawhi, Harden, Westbrook, and Paul George could be out.
No good.
At the end of the first round. Giannis and Embiid, now again, Rob, they are kind of in that middle group, but they could be out. But Dame is definitely old guard. He could be out. And Rob, after the first round of the playoffs, these could be the big names. Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Chet Holmgren, or if I don't think New Orleans is going to beat them, but Brandon Ingram. And they're talking like Zion might make an appearance. Donovan Mitchell. Now, he's, again, maybe in that middle guard. Obviously, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Halliburton, Luka Doncic, of course. Kyrie, again, more of a middle ground guy. And then, of course, Rob, Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. And, Rob, we could be, and I think we will. It's clearly leaning that way outside of the Clippers. But we could definitely, Rob, be looking at the changing of the NBA guard right before our eyes. And you cannot say, oh, well, last year Denver won it, right? It was already changed. No, because, Rob, who'd they beat in the conference finals? The Lakers with LeBron.
Right. Those
Steph,
guys were right
the Lakers
there. Yep.
the Lakers beat Steph. So, like, you had the big names still alive. And Jimmy Butler, if you want to consider him a big name from kind of the old guard, he was in the finals against Denver. And so, Rob, this could be the year that we see it. Do you like it? Do you think it's good for the league? How do you think fans respond?
I think it's good. I think there comes a time where it's time to have new players. I know people just hate to, see different things happen and, oh, my God, I can't believe we're watching the playoffs. But, Chris, some of the games have been good so far, the playoffs. We got new stars. It's good to talk about some different people. It's one thing when somebody's around for a long time. They've been around for a long time. That's been the conversation. And they've had their days in the sun. It's like we haven't seen them win. It's good to have some fresh blood. And these are some fun, exciting new players. So I'm going to embrace the new. I'm good with it. I mean, I know the league and probably the TV people, Chris, aren't that happy with it. Nobody wants Steph out. Nobody wants LeBron and the Lakers out that quickly. It's a big television market. You don't want Los Angeles. Chris, you don't want San Francisco, right?
Well, that's a whole nother thing in the markets, yeah.
Yeah.
When you're looking at Denver, Minneapolis.
Those are smaller, way smaller markets.
Yeah, Indianapolis, Milwaukee, if they're alive, Dallas. Yeah, I mean, New York, New York could make a deep run.
No, New York that will help, Chris, because people are starved there, and right. they're going to watch in droves if you're in New York.
Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City's a small market. Right. Yeah.
I think it's good because this is the future. And Ja Morant will be in there, assuming he's, got himself
I know, man.
Together,
I just can't get over how he's secondary, a second afterthought.
Yeah, but I think, again, as long as he takes care of himself off the court, he'll be there. He'll be back. Anthony Edwards, obviously the most exciting of the young batch. But Rob, I think it's good because the fans need to get used to these guys, right? Because these are the guys that are going to be the faces of the league going forward. I think right now, though, and look, I used to think the face of the league couldn't be an international player. I don't think that anymore. But you still, is it still maybe a slight obstacle with the fans? I don't know, maybe. But a lot of these guys are international. And two, Rob, I think Luka will show his personality over time. Jokic, Rob, you see in the commercials starting to show a little bit. You know, he's a kind of a, quiet, understated guy, but he's still likable. But really, out of all these guys, I mean, only Anthony Edwards to date, Rob, looks like, has shown and showcased that charisma. That where it's like, oh, we not only love his game, but his style, his personality, his smile. We love his competitiveness, talking trash. Like, we love it. Now, they are trying with some of the young guys. Rob, you've seen SGA and Chet Holmgren in the commercial, Jason Tatum in some commercials. As I mentioned, Jokic getting a little. So they're trying. But, Rob G, I want to bring you in because you have a take. You don't think this is good for the league right now.
No, I don't. And not that change isn't good or that I'm not embracing the new era.
Look at you, Rob G. I'm shocked. You're a young guy.
I don't know if he's trying to
this is
be a hot take artist that make some headlines, or if he really, ain't feeling.
All right, let's hear
it.
I think he's not
and
feeling
again, we've seen this already happen. Like we've seen the Shaq, Kobe, Duncan, Garnett era fizzle out, right? So this is not unusual. What is different to me?
But you had LeBron.
Right. But what is different to me about this current situation that we have going on is that it seems to be happening very abruptly. It's not like there's a transition period where, the Lakers fought really hard with LeBron James and ultimately they just get washed out. No, they got swept last year. Steph Curry has missed the playoffs 2 of the last 3 seasons. Kevin Durant, since he's left Golden State, has been an afterthought. So this old guard of the greatest players of that generation being basically unceremoniously dumped to the side without ever really having that last gasp that you look for, it's kind of tough. And I don't think that NBA fans right now especially are going to be embracing this young group of players the way that they should, because they're still holding on to that nostalgia. There's a reason why when you look at the NBA TV ratings, the top 2 teams every year, the last 3 or 4 years especially, have been LeBron's Lakers and Steph's Warriors. And if both of them are out before May 1st, that's not good for the league.
But if you have new places like New York, you don't count that like that's a big market.
And I like the Knicks. I like watching New York. I like Jalen Brunson, but Jalen Brunson is not the kind of guy who's going to bring in new fans. Not when he's shooting 16 for 55 in the first 2 games.
Here's why I'll push back a little, because there is some validity to what you're saying. The only thing I push back on, Rob G, is like the notion that it's abrupt. It's not abrupt. I mean, Steph won a championship a couple years ago. And here's the other thing. Like I said, LeBron, they were in the conference finals last year. They got swept, but they were in the conference finals. But also, Rob G, they're playing longer. They should have been gone. I mean, really, like the reason it might feel abrupt to you is because LeBron James at 39 is still playing great.
Real talk.
He should have been gone, right? Steph should have been gone at 35. KD 35.
Yep.
Well, like that's the thing there. Isaiah Thomas was gone. What was he, Rob? 32. Magic. Now we know Magic was different, but still
but
gone in his early 30s.
Even Isaiah, remember Isaiah tore his Achilles.
Yep. Early 30s. Bird, early to mid 30s. Like that's the thing. This era of LeBron, KD, and Steph has lasted longer, Rob G, than it really should.
That's totally fair. And I think the reason why, to me, it feels abrupt is because that next wave of players only Jason Tatum has had any real postseason success, and he's never become that crossover star that you would expect. I know he has the commercials, the ruffles, and all these different things, but he does not translate on a national scale the way a guy of his caliber should, or a team should. Nikola Jokic is by far the best player in the NBA right now, and his Q rating outside of sports fans is like 2.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like Luka,
his jersey's 15.
right?
14,
Luka
Doncic
could be that guy, but he again has made the first round once in his career. Giannis probably has the best crossover appeal, and to your point, they might get bounced out in the first round anyways. So there's no logical guy that's going to step in and say, I'm going to be the face of this league for at least temporarily in this playoffs. That's going to get people. Basketball fans are going to watch. Basketball fans are going to watch.
Edwards.
Well, he
is a guy
in Minnesota.
Yeah,
we'll see.
It's Anthony Edwards.
We'll see.
I mean, because his game. And now I also think the clear future, in my view. Tell me if you guys disagree. The clear future of the league is Wembanyama. He is going to be the face of the league. He's going to own the league. And that's going to, and like Jokic is owning it right now. And I think Wemby, I don't know, it's going to be a good test because we've seen the best players in the league, the absolute best, become international guys, right? But the LeBrons and the Stephs and the KDs were still there. The international players have become the best, but the great old guard American players are still the faces of the league. So now once they're gone, what happens when the absolute best players are international? Now, again, Ja and Anthony Edwards, they need to carry the torch for America. And Jason Tatum, if he can step up and, take that next step. But because Wemby, we'll see. It'll be a lot of things happening and a lot of things you'll be looking for to see, how the popularity of the league is when all the best players or most of the absolute best players are international. Because there is just a cultural difference, right? Jokic is he's in a different country. I don't know how colorful I'd be in a second language in some culture that I'm never, not really used to. So we'll see. But it definitely feels like a changing of the guard.